5 o'clock. So I'm going to call the meeting to order now that we have a quorum present. Everyone is present with the exception of Councilmember Wheeler and Councilmember Archuleta. There being no public comment, we'll move on to agenda item number 4, which is approval of the minutes from February 4th, 2021. Council, have you had an opportunity to review?
Yes.
Any changes, updates necessary?
I didn't see any, so I would make a motion we approve as written.
Have
I
a motion
second.
by Councilmember Harwood, a second by Councilmember Goldsmith. Councilmember Goldsmith, how do you vote?
Yes.
Councilmember Harwood,
Yes,
Councilmember Matsuda.
Yes.
Okay. Agenda item number 5, we're going to roll over to the next meeting. There are a couple of items that Mr. Giacoletto needed to accomplish, and he'll be prepared for the next meeting. So we will visit that back in April. Councilmember Wheeler just joined us. Councilmember Wheeler, we're on agenda item number 6. So Kate Kilpatrick Miller, if you'd like to speak to agenda item number 6.
Thank you for allowing me to make this request. So I have a request regarding closing the street, Main Street. When I talk about closing Main Street, I talk about closing at Bug and Bird, which is Jenna Larson's, right just north of Gary DeVincent's, the Lincoln, down to where Depot Street. I don't remember what Depot turns into. I think it's Ivy or something, but that's what I'm talking about. So the first date I'd like to request for that would be coming April 10th from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. The business owners and I, especially Taryn Bunderson and Karen Templeton, we've gotten together and gotten with the other business people to do basically a reopening of Main Street, just to put everybody at ease. We will be working with the health department. We will be requesting and hopefully requiring masks as much as we can and that sort of thing. I'll be getting with ETV as well as on Facebook to announce all of this. And it's really just to get people coming to Main Street again. So a closure for April 10th from 10 to 3. And then another event we would like to begin again, and that would be First Friday. And that would be every first Friday, starting May 7th through October's First Friday. And the closure would be that evening. I don't remember what we did in the past. I think it was 5 o'clock or so. We would close it, and it would be again from Bug and Bird down to Depot Street.
Any questions for Kate? Any concerns?
It's exciting.
I would just like to mention that we need to make sure we keep it open for the fire department, and be aware that you could have guys coming in to get to the fire trucks.
Yes, and we'll be happy to work with the chief on that and make sure that whatever he needs is available. The important part with April 10th is I'm trying to increase social distancing. That's part of the reason for closing the street that day. And then like we've done last year and the year before, First Fridays, May through, well, earlier than that, actually in previous years, we've closed the street for other events on First Friday, so.
Okay, any other
motion
questions
to-
for Kate?
I'll motion to approve closing the street on
Oh,
April 10th
Sorry,
from
can
10.
I ask something? Sorry. I don't mean to
Go ahead.
interrupt. Did you guys have to have permits when you do those closures like we do for the parade? when you close down
I've
Main
always
Street,
come
we have
to
to
city
deduct
council
them.
and requested from them. I don't know what that means.
I just don't, it doesn't bother me. I just don't want somebody from the state to throw a fit.
Well, yeah, they're not going, that's our road now, so,
On what?
We-
The Main
on
Street?
Main Street, yeah. So
Yeah,
we
I
can close it
know.
whenever we want.
Okay. They still require me to get one though for the parade for every day and the whole plan.
Yeah, now the parade is part state road and part city,
No, I-
so,
Okay. All right. Didn't mean to interrupt. All right. Just want to make sure we're all.
no problem.
No, it's
crossing our
good to
Ts.
have clarification. Yeah. Thanks, Chris.
Okay, so I had a motion from Councilmember Matsuda. Do I have a second?
Second,
I have a second by Councilmember Harwood. Councilmember Goldsmith, how do you vote to close streets for First Friday and the April 10th event?
Yes, I'm in favor of closing the streets.
Councilmember Harwood,
yes.
Councilmember Matsuda,
Yes.
Councilmember Wheeler.
Yes.
Okay, moving on. It's Kate again to discuss the possibility of local consent. So Kate, I'll turn it over to you.
Requesting local consent for May 7th, the first Friday back after a year hiatus. What we plan on doing is, I guess, rolling Cinco de Mayo forward a couple of days. We'd like to have a beer garden. We there at the old city around the old city hall parking lot, and we would just sell beer, no wine, and we'll have music on the street and some other fun things. But as I've done in the past for the festival, I'm requesting local consent for May 7th, the first Friday of 2021.
So Kate, are you anticipating selling beer every first Friday and we'll be back every meeting? Or is this just this first Friday?
No, it would just be for now this first Friday. With the DBAC, if you do, I can't remember the amount, but if you go over a certain amount, then you're actually required to get a license. And that's not my intent. The intent here is to sell this May 7th and actually have some money for First Friday moving forward so that we can have some, pay some people and have more events for First Friday. So
Awesome.
Do you have the insurance? How's that working? And then do you have to put a fence up?
you're required to have insurance. We'll be working through Roy Nickus as we have. He's really easy to work with and he understands it because we do it every year with the festival. And
Mhm.
then depending on the count of people that we have, and I need to look at numbers past, you have to have so many volunteers. And yes, you have to keep it on Main Street. We'll have the no alcohol beyond this point. We already have that signage because of the festival. I would work it very similar to the festival where no beer in, no beer out, that sort of thing.
So the beer garden perimeter will be what area?
It'll be Main Street so people can.
The whole Main
closure
Street?
of Main Street, yes.
And so then
Like we
how
did-
would that work for other businesses that,
Our license does not cover any other business. So if, say, Tino or Cindy and Clay or someone else sells alcohol and the person goes out on the street, that business is liable for that, not First Friday. It's similar with the festival.
and then, because in First Fridays past, most of the galleries provided wine or something. So is that still going to be the norm or how would that?
Not this Friday, and I would say no. But I'm not over every first Friday. I'm on a committee. I would vote no on that. And I'm not sure what the licensing is around selling versus giving and that. But the person who gives someone alcohol and they go out and if they hurt someone in a car or something, they could be
Right.
sued, is my understanding.
So who's on the First Friday committee now? Who decided to do Cinco de Mayo and all that?
So first Friday has now, it's come under the umbrella of the Helper Alliance, which is the umbrella for the festival. It's
Mm.
not part of the festival. The money is not the festival's money. It has its own account. We had working with Ashley. Ashley is going to continue with it. And we're hoping to get some other businesses in to take a couple of months. So it's not so onerous on one person. Ashley did it for 2 years straight. But we want to work together and help each other. So did that answer your question? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure, like, do the other galleries, are they aware that if the beer garden happens, that then they're not able to provide wine, or is that they just need to know that then they are liable if one of their
They should know that.
guests?
They should know that, Mallory, because in past with the festival, I've met with them and told them that if you serve wine, it has to stay within within your establishment. They need to drink it before they can leave.
Right.
I can let them know again, but that would be any business again. So if, Jana were to have wine in her space or whomever, right? So I can let everyone know as I'm communicating about First Friday.
Yeah, it'll just be good for everyone to be on the same page and know
Agreed.
what's going on. So
Agreed.
since it's different from before where there wasn't a beer garden.
And so, my name's going to be on this. And so I want to make sure that we're covered and that we don't get in trouble, because I don't want to put the festival at risk. Because to be honest, that's where the festival makes money, is in their beer and wine garden.
Mhm.
So
And so then the people that'll be serving, they'll have all of the appropriate licensing to serve alcohol.
yes, that'll be taken care of, and we'll give out wristbands. We'll check IDs. Just
Okay.
what we've always done. I'm very familiar
Mhm.
with that part. So
Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
it sounds to me like she's got it covered, so I would make a motion to approve the local consent beer license.
I'll
Okay,
second.
have a motion by Councilmember Harwood, a second by Councilmember Goldsmith to approve the local area consent. Councilmember Goldsmith, how do you vote?
Yes.
Councilmember Harwood,
Yes,
Councilmember Matsuda,
Yes.
Councilmember Wheeler.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So thank you, Kate. I know you may be busy, so if you need to drop off, thanks for coming before council and visiting with us. So,
thank you.
okay, moving on to agenda item number 8, discussion and possible approval of the municipal wastewater plan. This was the document that we didn't receive at the last meeting that Jonathan sent out. Have you all had an opportunity to review, or do you have questions? Gary's going to be the point person to respond. No? Okay.
So I make a motion, we approve the municipal wastewater plan.
Okay. Have a motion by Councilmember Goldsmith to approve the municipal wastewater plan. Do I have a second?
second,
Have a second by Councilmember Harwood. Councilmember Goldsmith, how do you vote?
Yes.
Councilmember Harwood,
yes,
Councilmember Matsuda,
Yes.
Councilmember Wheeler.
Yes.
Okay, motion passes. Moving on to agenda item number 9, the discussion possible approval of wage increase for city employees. I also want to throw in there, we need to make sure we're conducting evaluations and that they're all completed by the end of April. I know we've had much discussion about Amanda's pay scale document. At this point, we're looking for budget information so that Zach can begin to formulate our 2021-22 budget. So what are the thoughts? Do you want to adopt a pay scale? Do you want to adopt a percentage? Let's discuss. So.
I'm a big fan of the table that Amanda came up with. So I think it looks good. It covers, I think, just about everything that we need for it to cover within the city.
I did
I
change
just
that
need to know.
to 25-cent increments instead of 50 cent. So I can send you guys the new updated version. on that.
Yeah, that's the only part that was holding me up on moving forward with museum stuff, because I didn't know if we were doing 3%, 50 cents, or how the increments were going to be. So
Well, I think if we can adopt one way or the other so that Zach can begin formulating the budget, because really the evaluations will help inform the actual number, right? If you have
Yeah.
someone who's performing at a level 10, you may want to give them a larger raise, and someone at a level 2, you may say, hey, you've got to improve your performance, that kind of thing. So, so we have some leeway. It's really to help guide Zach so he can begin to put together those numbers so that when we come to May, we have some good budget numbers and we have a plan for pay raises, if that makes sense.
mhm.
So Amanda, you've still got that same scale that you had before, and you've just changed the increase?
Is
Sorry.
that what you were looking for, Gary?
So I changed it to 25-cent increments.
Right,
It's the
okay,
same schedule. So,
okay.
um,
So-
so
So
I'd like,
where are we gonna,
go ahead.
where are we gonna be sticking all of your current employees? Are we gonna, sit down and find a spot to put them and start them out at?
I think
Yeah.
that's based on the evaluations, right?
Right.
Well, the evaluation, is that not, okay. Or is the evaluation gonna be how much of an increase they get?
Both.
I
For the
think
first one.
I think I should sit down with Zach, go over the wage schedule with him. I've kind of talked to everybody already. I think everyone with what they're making right now will fit in that wage schedule for class and group. And then we'll have the evaluations due the end of April for wage increases is what I think we should do.
Okay, sounds
And
good.
I've been looking at the job descriptions that we have, and we're going to be revamping some of the job descriptions because they didn't really, we need to create a new job title at the museum essentially. So we're working on that, and then the evaluations will be based off of that job description so that it's really specific. These are the expectations, and this is what the evaluation is based on. And that way we can determine if they move up a step or a grade or whatever. And then we were, as a board, the museum board, we met last month, and we talked about allowing education or training to move them on the pay scale, right? So if they get, so like with your crew, Gary, if they get certain certifications or whatever, then that could be, okay, well, if you do this, then you can move a step or whatever. But that way it's all clear and everybody knows how they can move on that, you know?
Sure,
So-
but does it not need to be job-based, that training? I mean,
Does
we
it
don't
need to
need,
be what?
we don't need Jason to go out and learn how to do plumbing and then get a raise.
Right,
'cause he-
exactly. No, it has to be relevant to his job description. Yeah.
And-
And your evaluation sheets, are they, have we got all the same ones so that I'm using the same ones you're using?
I believe
I-
that's,
I'm still in the process of creating the ones for the museum based on the job descriptions.
Well, I think we all have to use the same evaluation form.
I agree. There's no
Everybody,
need
every
to-
job is different though.
No, but if you look at the evaluation form, we can go over it, but I thought it's very standard for every job. The one that I sent everybody.
I agree with Amanda. I think we don't need to have an evaluation form for every single job. I mean, the library had some and they put those aside and have adopted Amanda's. So, and Amanda, one question I have that's come up with library. So they have both of their assistants are new hires. How does that work with evaluations for this year and getting started on the scale?
I think that's all up to each department, the head of the department. If they were just hired, I think we have to take that into consideration. But we'll do all that with the evaluation. I don't
I think
think-
they should be evaluated though. I
Yes,
believe
exactly.
that.
I don't think every evaluation means a raise.
Correct.
Well, after a fresh hire or a new hire, then they're gonna be on 6 months probation. And at the end of that 6 months, they would get an evaluation and possible raise then. That's kind of how I work it in my department, so. But at one time, I had a different disciplinary form than everybody else was using. I just feel like the disciplinary form, all these forms need to be the same. The evaluation form, we all need to be
Yeah, it
using
would
the
help
same
to
one.
have consistency.
I agree with that, Gary.
Where did you get the
Totally.
evaluation form from, Amanda?
I just did some research on some and then found one that I thought covered everything, just a standard umbrella evaluation form.
Yeah, I think it's a really usable tool because I know like with the libraries, they started with a 3-page one. This is 1 page. So if Gary has like 10 or 15 people that he's got to go through, he can do it in a timely manner and still have it be a valid document. And I would encourage like maybe do it like a month after somebody is hired as a baseline. And then like what Gary was saying at 6 months, but that's just a suggestion from my part.
We just need to all do it the same. So
Right.
every,
So we
and
need to-
have you been doing are library employees on probation for 6 months and then they can get a raise? Has that been the case?
Haven't been, they haven't, but we do
So,
need to standardize that, I think.
yeah.
So yes, I think we should do that.
So Lenise, how would we do that? Would we write up would that be written into a policy that we would then vote on? Would that be a resolution? How would that work?
I would ask Dominique. It might be a resolution. I don't think it needs to be an ordinance. Dominique, are you
Yeah, a resolution.
a resolution?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Resolution doesn't need to be an ordinance.
Okay. So yeah, I think y'all are sound in your approach, especially with standardizing evaluation forms as well as disciplinary forms. So so everybody starts at the same place, and you can, elaborate on different evaluations based on job positions and other things that will come into question or will come up during an evaluation. So I think that's a solid approach.
So are we just going to take their current pay, place them on the scale of whatever they're already making and go from there? Or are we doing evaluations and saying they actually should have been making this much based on their years of experience and their education and this and that?
I think we place everybody where they match on the scale just to get an idea. And then it's up to you. If you feel like they were hired at a way low, scale that didn't make sense with their job description, then you don't have to do 25 cents. You can do what you feel is correct. And then go up from there. It's going to be a learning curve for sure. We're going to have to learn where everyone's going to be in the scale and then go from there.
Okay.
So my understanding is a library assistant is going to start at the bottom of the scale, but maybe a police officer will be in the middle of the scale or something like that. And that each job description has a minimum area of, or a minimum wage of where they start. Is that correct, a correct assumption?
Yes.
That sounds right. Yeah.
But actually, I think we're going to keep the police department on a separate scale, a separate pay scale.
Yes. And the fire too. And the reason being is fire are paid monthly, not hourly. So if you gave them a 3% raise, it would basically be 25 cents a month. I mean, that they've got to be treated differently a little bit.
And then
So-
police department, because they're full time, or what is why do they have a separate?
They had developed a pay scale in conjunction with a variety of other police departments in and around the state. So I think their pay scale is different because of the skills that they have to bring to a position. And it would be impacted only by the full-time people, which I think we have a total of 4. And right now they're all where they should be. So they're not positioned for raises at this point.
And
So they're paid competitively with other police departments is my assumption.
I wouldn't say we're competitive. I would
Okay,
say we're barely keeping up. Is what I would
However,
say.
we do pay 100% of health insurance, which gives value, in my
Yes.
opinion.
It does. I agree.
and then when was
Okay.
that pay scale adopted? I don't remember.
It's not been formally adopted. It's been presented in discussions with the police department, but I've not presented it as part of this, nor have I presented the fire department as part of this, if that makes sense.
So this is just for all the other departments.
Yeah.
And then so is the police department doing their annual evaluations and all of that?
I would like to see evaluations across both of those departments for fire and police, just for record keeping purposes, understanding that they're obviously present in different roles. Volunteers will have different requirements that we're looking for, but it'd be a nice way to track performance and to identify if we have issues or if everybody's doing great, let's pat them on the back or do something for them. So
So will that be like the kind of go-to thing now? Every April we'll do evaluations.
that's what I'd like to see, because it puts us in a pattern of doing it, and always before budget year, because let's say we have a bang up year next year and we feel like we can do something significant for pay raises, it'll always be on the agenda before budget season fires up, and it'll just force us to look at it.
So this is probably more a question for Zach, but the city can afford the raises that we're giving, and we're not going to bankrupt ourselves with this. Is that correct?
Zach, I think that's a question to you.
So, as far as I've seen on the budget, it depends on how we schedule the money. So, if you do give a higher salary to, say, someone in Gary's department, that money can always come out of a different, like, office expenses, or what was the other one? Sorry, I'm a little bit new.
No, you're
So-
fine. So my question is this, Zach, is what you're saying is if Gary decides everybody's done phenomenal and he's going to give them all tremendous raises, it will come from Gary's department and not from the library budget. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
It
a
will
lot
stay
of it would come,
around.
some of it would come from water, some from power, some from sewer, some
Okay.
from And very little would actually come out of the general budget.
Yeah.
Well, not very little, but only a part of it.
So the raises will be tagged to the department. So let's say you decide employee A, you really want to give them a huge jump. You may not have money left over for employee B and C. I mean, those are decisions you all would be making on a case by case basis, just so you know.
And I also want to add, I think that all the departments are already stretched thin for paying their employees. We don't have a lot of money, but this will just better, it will make it easier for Zach to see if we have the budget for it, you know, in the future.
Yeah.
Well, it's not like we're going to go crazy and give everybody $10 an hour raises. We definitely can't afford that. That's
Right.
why we put in a 25-cent increment schedule. But yeah, I don't think we have a ton of money to spend. We're already paying our employees what we can, but we definitely want to see them earn more and get a higher wage. So we're going to do what we can, but it's going to take some maneuvering, I think.
Okay.
Sorry, my Wi-Fi dropped off for a minute.
No, well, it sounds to me like you all are leaning to the pay schedule. I know you may not have the updated one that reduced it from what Amanda had pulled together previously. If that is the case, then I think it becomes, where is everyone in your department? And then you can put them on the schedule, and then you say where, you know, after evaluations, where should they be? And that will inform the budget. Is that, Zach, is that enough information for you to get started formulating the budget where we can formally adopt the pay scale in April versus just a 3% pay raise?
I believe so.
Okay. Okay. So it sounds like, Amanda, you referenced you wanted to come down and visit with Zach with the new pay schedule. Can you get that to happen before April? And then if we can get that out to everyone performing evaluations, then you can see where your employees are and then where you feel like, based on performance, job description, all the other variables, where you'd like them to be. And then that can inform the budget in the April meeting. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I can stop in tomorrow.
Okay. All right. So my purpose was to give him enough information to begin formulating the numbers so that we can then look at real numbers in May and see what the impact is as we move this forward, if that makes sense. Okay. So we'll look for an updated pay schedule, but we've decided that I guess let's go ahead and have a motion to adopt a pay schedule as our mechanism, and then we can formalize the details at the next meeting. So I would entertain such a motion.
I would make a motion, we approve the pay scale for the city
Okay.
employees.
Have a motion by Councilmember Harwood to utilize pay scale to inform raises for employees at the beginning of our budget year of 2021, 2022. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Have a second by Councilmember Wheeler. Councilmember Goldsmith, how do you vote?
Yes.
Councilmember Harwood,
Yes,
Councilmember Matsuda,
Yes.
Councilmember Wheeler.
Yes.
That's really progress, guys. Y'all are doing great. Y'all are moving in the right direction. So good for you. Good job. Okay, moving on to agenda item number 10. This is Gary, discussion and possible approval for fertilizer for parks and cemeteries in the amount of $1,700. Gary, I turn it over.
okay, this is step one in fertilizing the parks. This kills all any crabgrass, broadleaf grass, and then it fertilizes the grass, all of the parks. So
Questions for Councilmember Harwood? No?
I make a motion that we approve the fertilizer.
Okay, I have a motion by Councilmember Goldsmith to approve the fertilizer purchase for $1,700. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Have a second by Councilmember Wheeler. Councilmember Goldsmith, how do you vote?
Yes,
Councilmember Harwood,
Yes,
Councilmember Matsuda,
Yes.
Councilmember Wheeler.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Moving on to agenda item number 11. This is a request I'm making, actually, to add the Janet Street underpass to the CIB list for restoration purposes. And basically what this does is it's tracked as a project. The county comes together and they prioritize projects. And I can tell you my first project is police cars because we had previously approved that. So that will be my priority that I push, but it's more about getting this on the list for consideration for the future. So do you have questions, concerns, anything I can address?
I think it's great.
Okay. All right. I would love to entertain a motion to add the Janet Street underpass restoration to the CIB list.
I
so
make
moved.
that motion.
All right. I have a motion by Councilmember Matsuda. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
I have a second by Councilmember Goldsmith. Councilmember Goldsmith, how do you vote?
Yes,
Councilmember Harwood,
yes,
Councilmember Matsuda,
Yes.
Councilmember Wheeler.
Yes.
Perfect. Thank you so much. I'll get this added to the list and we'll do our priority setting in the March, April timeframe. Again, my key priority is funding of police vehicles. So just so you know where we're at. Moving on to agenda item number 12, discussion and possible approval allowing Kenny Driggs an RV trailer at the Rio Theater for 4 weeks while constructing. Councilmember Goldsmith, I'll turn this over to you.
so somebody noticed that there was a RV parked in front of the Rio and questioned the length of time it was going to be there. Our city ordinances allow up to 14 days and they're planning on being there at least 3, maybe 4 weeks. So we're just asking that that trailer can stay there. They're using it as part office and then part living space because we do have some out of the area people that are doing some technical work with the upgrades. So we're doing that. And that being said, there are other trailers and such in the city that people are living in and have been living in for most of the winter that have not come up in front of us about this. So I would just hope that other people in the city come and get the same so that, I mean, I guess the city's setting an example of this is how it should be done.
Questions or concerns?
do the other residents know that the residents that are doing it, do they know they can come and get a variance? When they call City Hall says, no, you can only do it for 14 days. Do they know that a variance is an option?
What kind of can of worms
So
is
what has
that?
happened is like, Gene Boyack and I, a couple months ago, collected a list. We turned it over to Chris. And from there, I do not know if the homeowners have been contacted about that and that they do have that option. So I can give you a definite, I don't know.
Well, I think we're opening up a heck of a can of worms here, trying to, give these variances.
Well, I think this is a unique situation where they are doing the renovation of the building, right? They're doing the upgrades that are needed and then they'll be out of there. So
And a
It's
unique situation somebody has is maybe they've lost their job and they can't afford their home. So for a little while, they're living in a trailer. That's a unique situation.
So what would you suggest, Councilmember Harwood? Do we ask
Yeah.
Kenny to relocate the RV
Well,
because he can
There's
move it?
RV parks just down the road. there's the Castle Country RV, and then there's Harry Reddington's place, Pam's RV, so.
Okay. I defer to council. I mean, we were just trying to make sure we were acknowledging citizen concern and realizing that it is specific and short term. Understand if you do not want to open that can of worms, we will gladly work with Kenny Driggs, and I'm sure he will be amenable to whatever decision council hands down.
What do you think, Amanda?
Can of worms. I think we definitely have to take it case by case. Did we do what is it called? Was that part of his
Contractual agreement?
Yeah, was it in the contract that we were paying him to stay there, or a place to get to stay? I mean, does he live around here?
No, the everything set forth is equipment and our labor and our materials for the Rio upgrade. There's no contractual, you can stay here to do the work. There's nothing like that in.
So- Did he
Was
ask
he
that?
invited to the meeting to speak on this?
I don't think we specifically invited him. He's aware that it was a concern, and we've been talking with him about it. And again, he is very amenable to doing whatever we need to do. I just said if we're going to allow it, we need to ensure we're creating a variance for it and not just
Yeah.
hoping citizen A will go away and forget about it. You know, we were just trying to keep it transparent.
Mhm.
So again, he would happily move it back, because that's really what the rule says, right? He moves it off and then he can move it back after a day or two, because that meets the criteria. But again, I defer to you all, and if it's a variance you don't want to entertain, don't. It's your
What are
it's
the
completely your call.
sorry, what are the requirements in requesting a variance? Is there like a checklist that has to be met in order to receive the variance, or is it just a yay or nay from council?
I understood it to be a yay or nay from council. I don't know that we've created a criteria for a variance of this nature.
So, Lenise, for a variance to pass, there's 3 or criteria that have to be met. But that being said, Jean Boyack is the expert on that. And so I don't feel comfortable speaking as far as what those criteria are. I just know that there are some that need to be met. And in speaking with her informally, she seemed to that if council voted to approve that it would not be a problem.
And
So I
again-
looked at the variance thing here, and there's like 5 items that you have to meet, but it
What are they?
doesn't really apply to that at all. The
Okay.
To the
land use ordinances, and it just didn't help at all.
you can let this motion die. You don't have to present anything to vote on. And then we'll just coordinate with Kenny and let him know that we'll need to adjust and relocate the trailer for a period of time. And I mean, he's going to be there for a good 4 weeks. So moving off for a few days, it would allow him to move back on and meet the 14-day criteria. His objective is to finish by May 19th, or March 19th, sorry. Just so you all know what it is. So, any further discussion or? Okay. Any motion to be entertained by council? Okay, There being no motion on the floor, we'll move on to council reports. Let's start with you, Councilmember Goldsmith. You're muted.
I was saying, let me get my notes here, figure out the page. So, on the Trails Committee, Helper City has submitted, thank you, Mayor, a solar system trails grant. So we see that in the off, coming down. We've also submitted a grant for startup money for a climbing or bouldering group that's headed by Highland Markle. So that's coming. And the solar system trail is coming through the DSO group out of the library. They'll be doing some fundraisers to do matching grants for that. As far as the parks go, we're moving very, very slowly forward on our all access playground. So we're doing things with that. And then on beautification, we have no yard of the month this month because everybody's kind of hunkered down for the winter. There wasn't really any Valentine's things. We haven't seen any St. Patrick's Day decorations coming out yet. So there you have it. And that's it.
Thank you. Councilmember Harwood.
Okay, so we have been trimming trees that are getting up into the power lines, and we're continuing to flush sewers, check manholes, service vehicles, flush fire hydrants, and we changed the water meter to public safety building, made it a radio read meter. One issue we're gonna have coming up is the electric meter reading system is no longer compatible with our water meter reading system. So we've got to figure that out and see how we're going to continue to read all the new electric power meters that come out. The mayor and I are still trying to figure that one out. I think that's it.
Okay, thank you, Councilmember Harwood. Councilmember Matsuda.
Okay, so we have some grant money that we need to spend now that we are no longer on a spending freeze because of COVID over at the museum. And I think I mentioned it last time that, I don't know if I did, but one of our key items to do is security cameras for the museum. So I've been getting some recommendations. I'll be calling this coming week to get some pricing on that. I talked with Chief Gelati this week also with the vandalism and stuff that happened at the auditorium. I'm thinking it may be wise to invest in some systems over at the auditorium and then to protect the assets over at the Rio as well. So I'm not sure. I mean, with the grant money, we don't need to go through the lengthy process, but if it's for the other buildings, Mayor, would we need to do an RFP? Is that what it's called? Or
The system that we've already purchased, we've already got one on the city hall. So I would like to stay with that system there. It's
oh,
working
well, what is
fine.
that, Gary? Because
Well, it's just a night owl system you purchased from Walmart. It's all wireless. We tried wireless at the auditorium. It doesn't work. So trying to wire that building is going to be a little bit difficult.
so with that, is there access on the app? Is this something we need to talk about in private? I don't know.
Yeah, but I don't know that we're going to give access to everyone. It'll be just PD.
Right. Okay.
But-
So with the other buildings, so should I not be getting quotes? How do you want me to proceed?
No.
Mayor?
No, if you're, we'll be looking at putting security cameras down there too. And if you want to use the grant money to pay for it, that would be great. You know, we can.
Well, no, that needs to be, I can only spend that for the museum.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. At the museum, you can buy the cameras that we need down there with your grant money, but we can install them. Our guys can install them. The museum, the city hall, all of them, the Rio Theater, they'll all be a piece of cake. It's the auditorium that's going to be a problem
because of the size and stuff.
because of the walls. The walls are 18 inches thick.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So that's the issue.
Well, I
that-
won't worry about the other ones then, and I'm just gonna take care of the museum.
Well, we can even do the museum. So as
Yeah.
far as installing it.
The labor part, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's great to know.
Perfect.
And then I just wanted to let everyone know that John Borla very generously donated some wonderful pictures of the late Walt Borla and some of our baseball history of the area. If anybody would like to go down and take a look. We also have a thank you card going out to him. If anyone wants to stop by and sign it, we're going to be mailing that out tomorrow. And
Mallory, I just wanted to add, in case anybody's listening, tomorrow is Aldine Thomas's celebration of life. I believe
Oh,
it's
yes.
at 1 tomorrow.
thanks, Michelle. And then at our board meeting, Cindy Lund we voted, and she's the co-chair of the museum board, just so everyone knows. I already told you that we're working on the job descriptions there. Oh, I wanted to mention the dog situation on the Parkway. I know Michelle and Mayor Peterman went down there and cleaned it up. Thank you. But that may be something that we may need to come back on the agenda if people are not picking up after their animals, that we might want to reconsider allowing dogs on the Parkway, because it has been really bad and there's really no excuses for it. There's bags available, there's waste stations there. So just wanted to put that out there. And then see if I'll ask Joan if we can get that on the back of the bill to remind people. Did we already do that?
I think she did it. Check this
Okay.
month.
Okay, yeah.
I believe that's already been done.
Yeah, okay, great. So let's keep an eye on that. And then Amanda, Barry and I had talked about putting a button on the website for a link to the meetings so that people can access the public meetings easier. People are having a hard time finding these live streams, and for planning and zoning too. And I was going to do it, but my computer broke and I can't get on it. So
I
is there
thought I did it. I thought it's done.
Oh, you did it? Okay, great.
Yeah.
Yep. And that's all I have. Perfect. Thanks.
Okay, Councilmember Wheeler.
Okay. So I have been updating our website. I did add a police department page, but I need more material for it. So I'll be getting in touch with the police department. This week and next week, I'll be walking around town taking photographs I need for the website. If there's anything anybody can think of specifically that they want or need, let me know and I'll put it on my list. Let's see, I updated the city wage schedule. I'll get that to City Hall. The auditorium library building was broken into, but I'll let the police chief talk on that. And that's all I have.
Awesome. Thank you. Police Chief Gelati.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I don't really have much to add. The building was burglarized and along with a bunch of other businesses we found out, and a lot of other crimes. Is like a little mini crime spree apparently. But we did find the culprits, and we will seek the restitution. Time frame on that, it's all up to the court. So, but at least somebody will be held responsible, and we will get recuperated for the damages.
Awesome.
Other than that, we've just been busy. So
Okay. Thank you. Dominique, anything from the city attorney?
Nope.
No. Okay. All right. That being said, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make the motion to adjourn.
Have a motion by Councilmember Wheeler to adjourn. Do I have a second?
Second,
Have a second by Councilmember Harwood. Councilmember Goldsmith, how do you vote?
Yes.
Councilmember Harwood,
yes.
Councilmember Matsuda,
Yes.
Councilmember Wheeler.
Yes.
Thank you for your time. Y'all have a good evening.